Hey everyone, how's it going? I am really hoping that I have got this set up correctly and hopefully you can hear me. So before I do anything else, if you can do me a favor and write in the comments if you're able to see me and if you're able to hear me, uh, and then I'm going to be able to relax for the next hour. Aha, excellent. Thanks, Liz. Brilliant. Okay, so hey everybody, this is incredibly strange. um, I have never done a live video before, so I thought I would do a YouTube live this evening. It's at 7 o'clock because at 8 o'clock, Monty Don is doing his tours of Adriatic Gardens, and I know much better than to try and compete with Monty. So this will hopefully get you in the mood for like a Friday evening of gardening. So we'll have a bit of a chat and then you can all leave me at 8 o'clock to go on to BBC and watch him instead. So I'm going to say hello to everybody. I'm really sorry if I don't know everybody's names. I know when I've been on a live before, uh, Liz is very good at knowing people's first names. So I'm sorry if I don't. So I'm looking down the list. Hello, everybody. This is brilliant. This is cool. I wasn't even sure whether anybody was going to join me. So this is really nice. Hey, everybody. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to keep up with the chat that's going. So if I can't, I'm really sorry. And also, if you see that I keep looking down, that's because I'm on my camera and I've got my laptop here so that I can chat away to you. Excellent. So earlier in the week, I hit 10,000 subscribers, and I thought there's a few things that I want to do so that I can kind of say thank you to you guys. And I thought one of them was to do a live video so that you would have a chance that you can actually say hello to me and we can have a chat. And I'll give you an update on what's happening here and what I'm up to. And also you can ask me any questions you've got. So before we go any further, say a big hello to a moderator extraordinaire, Liz Zorab. She's there to make sure that everybody has a really nice evening. And yeah, she's going to help me out behind the scenes, which is really good of her. Thank you, Liz. Yeah, so what I thought to begin with is, because I don't know your first names, if you're up for letting me know your first name, write it in the comment and just put like your first name or roughly where you're located or something like that. Because what I'll do is I'll watch this back later this evening and I'm going to write down everybody's like first name and location. And then the next time I do a live video, I'm going to know who to say hello to rather than saying hello to your usernames. But obviously there is no pressure to do that. It's only if you fancy doing it. So I'm going to have a quick look down and see who's online. Ah, cool. So, hey, Dortha from Denmark. Hey, Danny. Hey, Lisa. Jay. Eilish. Malin.
I'm not sure about that.
Did you hear that? That is my Amazon device going off. Hey, Anya, and Richard and Paul and Ruth. This is incredible. Hi, Alison. Kathy. Oh, this is incredible. Great. Hi, Salman. Yeah, Tony, you're absolutely right. I need to silence the Alexa. Wait 1 second. Right, we will no longer be rudely interrupted by my Alexa. Hi, Max. Hi, Sean. Hey, Bill and Val. Hey, Jed. Nicola. This is brilliant. Jackie. Wow, there is such a list. There's 47 people on at the moment, so that is really cool. So I suppose to kick off, I'll give you I'll let you know what I'm doing. I'm not used to doing this. So I suppose I spent the afternoon in the garden. If you have watched any of my videos before, particularly videos like my my garden tour videos, And Liz, I'm sure, will link me to, or put a link in for you for some of my garden tour videos. You'll know that we have really big apple trees in the back garden, and they are in dire need of pruning. I absolutely love them, but they are absolutely massive. And the problems that we're having at the moment now is all of the growth is really, really high. And then because of that, all of the apples are essentially unreachable because I'm not going up a really tall ladder to try and grab them. So then they end up basically just end up falling off or getting eaten before we get to enjoy them. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and do some serious restorative pruning. It's going to be a bit of a project. I think it's going to take more than 3 years. Looking at the amount of work that needs to be done, it's going to take a lot more than 3 years. So that's going to be my ongoing project. So I started that this afternoon. I know that you go with the whole dead, disease, dying crossing, and you take out the vertical leaders and things like that. These trees are so big that it's almost bigger than that. So what I spent this afternoon doing was tackling just one tree and taking out those really, really tall sail branches that have just grown. I mean, they're 7 or 8 feet. So I've started taking those out. So I'll make sure to put that in the video. I'm planning on doing a winter garden tour video. And I think what I'll do is, rather than making it a really nice, pretty video, I'll take you around when everything's being worked on, because I'm doing loads of stuff in the garden at the moment, but it means that the garden is unusually messy. So I'm just catching up on the messages. Hi, everybody. Looking down. Oh, there's Niall from Bustaseed. Hi, Niall. Hi, Matt and Jess and Jeffrey. Hi, Barry. This is great. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Leslie. I recognize Leslie. I do not mind admitting my mum is watching this, which is actually very cool. Bless her. Yeah, and Danny, you're saying I'm surely not afraid of heights. Okay, so right. Some people know this, some people don't. I am not a gardener by profession. I have a day job, and all of this is like my side project, my passion project. I fly for a living. I'm a pilot, but yes, I am afraid of heights. So being in a plane, I'm absolutely grand. Put me 3 rungs up a ladder, and my legs go to jelly. So yes. Yeah, that's why I'm not going to film me working on the apple trees. Oh, guys, you're all really lovely. You're giving my mum a lot of love. That's very kind. So I suppose the other thing is to tell you maybe some of the things that I'm hoping to do on the channel for the next year or so. You'll have seen just out on Sunday, I published a video all about what flower seeds to sow in January, and it was a collab with Liz. That seems to have gone down really well, and it's because I did the what to sow in terms of edibles last year, and I got a really overwhelming response, actually, and I wanted to do it again with flowers. And part of it is actually really selfish on my part, because the garden here is beautiful, and in the spring it is stunning. It's got so many really gorgeous bulbs and flowers, but then in the summer, it starts to just go very green and just a little bit bland. So what I want to do is introduce loads of color. So this is going to help drive me on every month to really start sowing and growing things that are going to bring that pop of color. But the great thing is, January isn't the only video where I'm going to do a collab. The plan is that every month it's going to be a collab with a different YouTuber. So you're going to get to see not only my recommendations every month through the year, but you're going to get to see someone else that I think is great, get their recommendations in as well. And I think you're going to enjoy that. I've already got some really cool people lined up. Liz has obviously been one of them. She's already been on, and I've got a load of other people coming up, which hopefully you're going to enjoy. Now, I'm going to look back down for a second. Sorry, I'm not looking at you. I'm going to have a look and see who else is on. Hi, Kieran. Yes, I know. A pilot bothered by heights is like a needle phobic nurse. It's definitely a perception thing. When I'm in the air, I just don't feel it at all. But yeah, ladders and things like that, not good. Hi, Amanda from West Wales. Hi, Lorraine. That's really cool that you're here. That's so nice. Oh yeah, that's really good. So what I'm going to do is I have been talking at you solidly for like 10 minutes. So what I'm going to suggest is, do you want to ask me a couple of questions and I'll try and answer them, whatever you fancy, obviously. But if you're going to write me a question, don't just write it in regular case, write it in caps because it means that it's really easy for me to spot. And also it means that if I miss it, Liz is able to spot it and she can tell me that I've missed it as well. So I will keep chatting for a little bit and you start asking me a couple of questions. Oh, thanks, Ruth. That's really nice that you're enjoying the collabs. I think it's going to be good. It's not something I have much on my channel, is a lot of collabs, but Erica was very kind. Um, Erica was very kind to have me on two of her collabs over Christmas. We did a really good like bloopers video with a whole load of people and also gardening goals for 2022. And it made me realize that I want to be, I suppose, more engaged with more creators. So I think that's going to be good. Brilliant. We have got questions. So don't worry, Salman. I know it looks like you're screaming if you're typing in capitals, but it definitely makes it. It definitely makes it easier. Terra D72. How cold is too cold to winter? So we're in zone 5A, but it'll get to -34 this weekend. Yeah, it's. I would be very, very wary about starting anything unless you have a really good setup of things like heated propagator, lights, because I'm guessing if you're in somewhere like a zone 5A, that it's also going to be quite dark, a bit like here in the winter. To give you an example, we sort of straddle zone 8B, 9A. So we are quite temperate, but our last frost date is the middle of May. And even still, I wouldn't be sowing that much at this time of year. I would be really prioritizing um, things that are going to need a long growing season, things like chilies and aubergines, stuff like that. So I would really hold off unless you know that you can provide them with a lot of help like that. Nicholas said, "Do you need more veg beds since your first year?" Uh, no, I do not need them, but I want them. I definitely want them. So actually, one of the things that I'm working on at the minute is most of you will know I made a raised bed veg garden last year. But what I was left with was exactly enough scaffolding boards to make two more 4 foot by 8 foot beds. And I had a nice little area at the very end of the veg garden, which you would see in my videos. I let go to like no mow last year. Uh, I have now built two more raised beds. And I think the plan is I'm going to make them exclusively for flowers. I'm going to dot flowers through the veg garden the way I have done last year. But I quite like the idea of having, do you know, like a cutting garden? Only I'm not going to go for the whole garden. I'm going to have two dedicated beds. And I think that's going to be really nice. Right, looking down the list. How do you balance piloting and gardening? Uh, I'm very lucky. It's actually not too bad. I really enjoy getting to do that and then coming home and being a little more connected to. It sounds very grand, but to be a little bit more connected to the ground, that's really nice. And actually, it's a job that does allow me to enjoy both, which is great. Oh, Mr. Plant Geek, Michael is on. Hi, how are you? Kathy, I'm confused by zones. How do I know where central Bedfordshire is? Okay, so if you go online and you Google something like last frost date map UK, you'll get some really good websites that are nice interactive maps. And what you can do then is look at where you're located. They're generally a color coded map and they'll tell you what zone you're in and when your last frost date is. That's what I used. And um, I am going to get Liz to give me a plug Actually, no, I'm not, because the video is not out yet. Okay, so sneak peek of the video that's coming out this Sunday. I'm doing a video basically about all of the pitfalls about sowing your seeds too early, and I've got a section all about last frost date, and there's a little section about exactly how to find out what your last frost date is and how to find it online. So check that video out. It'll be out on Sunday morning at 9, and it will have all the answers for you there. Uh, Danny at the Grapevine Allotment, are you going to try potatoes again this year? Yeah, definitely, because actually I had a lot of success with them last year. So last year I grew Charlotte and Pink Fir Apple. The Charlotte, they actually worked very nicely, but they're not my style of potato. I like really waxy salad potatoes. The Pink Fir Apple potatoes were divine, and they've stored really nicely. We finished the last of them. Oh, we finished the last of them only last week. So I am going to be sowing a lot more, or sowing? I'm going to be growing a lot more Pink Fir Apple this year. If you don't know them, they're really waxy salad potatoes, but they're sort of long and oblong. They're really lovely. And I'm also going to be trying a heritage variety because I found a local farmer only about 20 miles away from here that grow their own heritage varieties that you can go and buy. So I'm going to try those. Lorraine, sorry I was late. Not at all, Lorraine. You're here. It's grand. We're here until 8 o'clock. I'm going to be cheeky and ask, are you going to use those nettles by the polytunnel this year? They are screaming to be used. Yes. Okay, so any of my polytunnel videos, if you've watched them, you will have seen that there's an area behind the polytunnel, which I would nicely call the compost area, but actually it's a bit of a waste ground. And the nettles were like 5 foot high. So I'm definitely going to do something with them this year. I know Hugh Richards did a great video about soil amendments and creating soil amendments with nettles. And that is what I'm going to be trying because he fermented them. So I'm going to give that a go. How are your DIY hot composters holding up? Any leaks or wear? Yeah, Alison, they are brilliant. I got to say, even though they're only polystyrene, they do hold up really nicely. The only thing is, I emptied one out not that long ago and left it outside, and there was a storm, and it took the obviously the air got under and the lid lifted off, and I found it in the middle of my veg garden, and it was damaged. But that's not a failing on its part. That's a failing on me leaving it outside when it's windy. Yeah, Liz, I really do have the veg gardening bug. Um, totally. Bill Swan asks, what's the best way to deal with ivy? I have a 2-acre wooded area coming down with the stuff. Oh wow. Okay, so I was thinking you would mean on a small scale. Oh right. Okay. Ivy is really tricky, and I'm going to be honest, I don't think I can advise on a massive scale like that. We do have ivy that's climbing up the trees in our garden, on the apple trees and up the front of our house. And the best thing you can do is basically chop it off at the source. Don't just try and rip it off. Like if it's growing out of the ground, go a bit above the ground, cut through the main stem or the main trunk, go up another bit, cut that bit and lift that out, and then basically it will die off. If you're able then to apply that onto the scale that you're gardening, great. If not, I'm really sorry that I'm not helping you enough. Sorry, folks. Looking down at the questions again. Yeah, Jeffrey, climbing trees really will help with my fear of heights, providing I don't fall off, because it could just backfire. Barry asks, do you use buckets for your potatoes? Quick answer, last year, no, I didn't. I put them in my raised beds. Totally regretted it because I had to dig them up with a fork. I speared some of them with the fork. The beds weren't deep enough. It was awkward to try and earth them up. So this year, I will be growing them in pots for sure. Vivian. Hi, Vivian. How you doing? Nice to see you. Uh, right, Jane, is your whole house filled with plants, or are you in a special planty corner? Yeah, this looks kind of epic. Okay, so 100% truth. these do not sit like this all year. I basically shopped my house. This is like my man cave or my office, and some of the plants uh, are here all the time. Most of them aren't. Most of them are either in the conservatory or in the dining room or in the living room. And I went round the house earlier this afternoon and nicked them all and brought them here so that it would look nice. But it does look kind of cool. The other thing I have to confess, houseplants, I love them. But actually, we now have a division of labor in my house, which is that I look after the outside, and Kenny, my partner, looks after all the houseplants, and he keeps them watered and fed and looked after. And you can see what a good job he's doing. Yeah, Danny, pink fir apples are absolutely brilliant, aren't they? Hi, Francis. That's really cool that you're calling from Canada. Anna Jones, what is the best way to keep tree roots out of compost bins? So, okay, Anna, I've never had this trouble before, but instantly my thought would be put some kind of barrier between the compost and the surface of the ground. Now, the thing is, obviously, you don't want it to be completely solid. You want some kind of permeability. So I would be thinking um, you could put something like pavers with gaps. Or alternatively, what you could get is, that metal mesh that you can get that's quite fine. I would put that along the bottom of my compost heaps anyway. And I put that there to protect them being dug up from vermin and stuff like that. I think that might help because at least it would hold the roots at bay long enough until it comes time for you to either lift the compost out or turn it. And hopefully that would work for you. David asks, what's the best time to sow cucumbers? Did some last year indoors? Yeah, you put them in the greenhouse in February or March and then failed. What would you do? I think, David, assuming you're in roughly the same climate as me, which is like Northern Europe, I think it's actually just that you sowed them a little bit too early. So for something like cucumbers, I would sow them really late. So this year I sowed mine at the end of April. And I know that seems very, very late, but you could even go to as late as May or even early June, because if you've got a greenhouse to put them in, they are going to catch up mega, mega quick. The moment they germinate, they are going to grow so fast. So what I would do is I would hold off until quite late, sow them, and then by that time, it's going to be nice and warm in your greenhouse. I think they probably failed just because it was too cold and there's not enough light. To give you an example, I sowed mine last year. I sowed Crystal Lemon and Marketmore at the end of April. And within a couple of weeks, I needed to get them into the soil. And once I got them into the soil, they rumped away and we had more cucumbers than you could really shake a stick at. I don't know. I'm realizing I'm going down a path where I really do not want to be talking this way about cucumbers. Oh my God. Okay. So we had a lot of cucumbers. It was brilliant. We were giving them away to the neighbors and we were cropping them from about July. So definitely sow them later. Uh, right. Lorraine asks, how is the pond doing? The pond is doing brilliantly. And it's actually looking really nice now because I've been doing a bit of skimming to keep it clear. And now that it's cold, the cold has killed off all of the duckweed and it's really clear. I've been moving a lot of the plants around in it. So we will do an update in the winter garden tour. I'll show you how that's looking. Spuds and Roses. Hello, how are you? Have you narrowed down your chilies or tomatoes growing for this year? Yeah, I totally have because I grew way too many last year. I am really editing down what I'm going to be growing. Hang on, I'm going to have a cup of tea or a drip of tea. Right, it's hard work, this. Okay, so last year I grew 6 different types of tomato and 6 of each. This year I'm going much simpler. I'm going to be growing Rainbow Blend. It's an F1 cherry type plum tomato. They come in pink, yellow, orange, and red, and they're absolutely gorgeous. I grow them every year, so I'll be growing some of those. I'll be growing Sun Gold because I know they're kind of standard, but they're standard for a reason. And I was also very kindly given by a very kind person some seeds of Brad's Atomic Grape. Now, if you've never heard of Brad's Atomic Grape, Google it right now and have a look. It looks incredible. I've never tried it, so I can't vouch for the taste. But if they look as good as they do in the pictures, I'm going to be delighted. So that's what I'm going to be going with. Bristol Veggie Beds, hello. And actually, I'm going to pause just for a little minute and I'm going to say hello to everybody that's joined. And apologies if I haven't said hello directly to you. I'm doing the best that I can, but it's so nice that you're here because I'm looking and there's now 63 people online, which is absolutely lovely. So I'm going to ask you to do me a favor right now. Which is if you can all go and click on the like button. Now on my screen, it's above me, but it's probably below. If you hit the like button, YouTube really likes it. And the big thing is it tells YouTube that people like yourself are enjoying this. And then it's going to tell more people either about the live or about my channel. And that is a really nice way that you can help me without having to do very much. So give it a thumbs up. Hey, brilliant. That's great. Thank you. So, Rebecca, can I borrow Kenny? To me, houseplants just take up the space I need for propagation. Uh, yes, but he charges very expensive rates for looking after houseplants because, as you can see, he does such a good job, and transport is not included. Jane, how big is your garden? It looks huge. Yeah, it is pretty huge. It's an acre. But the biggest thing is that although it's an acre, it's not a square, it's an oblong acre. Um, and it runs north south. And then when you get down towards the bottom of the garden, it then tapers into a point behind the polytunnel where all of the nettles are, which means that it seems even bigger. The other thing that's really nice is that because the garden has a lot of mature trees, when I'm making videos and I'm putting myself in the videos, it makes it look really big. It adds a lot of depth, but yeah, it's a big garden and it's a lot of work to stay on top of. Yeah, great idea, Bill, asking other people to suggest because I mean, there are so many people on at the minute that people are going to have really good ideas for how to deal with that much ivy because that is a lot. Brilliant. Thank you everybody for hitting the thumbs up. Geraldine, it's been really lovely to have you on. Thank you for coming on. Take care. See you later. Yes, this is definitely my first time, Geraldine. I've never done this. RSG asked, can I stagger growing early potatoes throughout the growing season? Yes. Okay. So big caveat, I am not a potato growing expert. And I would say if you want some good advice, go and look at either Liz Zorab's channel or Tony O'Neill's. They both have really good advice. I know Tony does a lot on potatoes. For early varieties, I think you can stagger them to an extent because ultimately they have such a narrow growing period. The biggest way you can, though, sorry, I'm waving my pen a lot. I'm putting my pen down. I'm like a school teacher. One way you really can stagger early potatoes is that you can grow them in the autumn. So you could actually grow some when they're meant to be grown, and then you could grow some at the early autumn time and have those 3 months and then have Christmas potatoes. That's what a lot of people do, and it is brilliant fun to do. Hi, Anne from Ohio. This is brilliant. There's people from all over the world. This is insane. Dorothy, I hope Dorothy, I'm pronouncing your name right. If I'm not, I'm really sorry. I have a name that a lot of people don't like pronouncing. So yeah, is gardening in your family or something you've picked up on your own? It runs in my family unofficially. My mum is a fantastic gardener. She hates me using the word plantswoman, but the truth is she is a plantswoman and always has been. So I was always taken around gardens as a kid, and I had I had my own little bit of a garden. And actually, if you want to know a little bit more background, I'm going to ask Liz to link a video in the description, and it's actually her video. Liz was incredibly kind and made a video all about me, actually, like a bit of a biography about me and gardening and what it means to me. And there's some really lovely bits about me growing up and actually about my family, because my grandparents were great gardeners as well, and it's got some lovely photos of that, and that'll give you, I think, a little bit of an insight. Thanks, Anya. I'm glad that you like the videos. I do my best. I really like making videos that look nice. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully I can keep that up. Ruth is asking, what do you plant directly outside rather than starting inside? If I'm doing that, I keep it really simple. I tend to go with things that I know are going to work. I take it you're talking about seeds. So if you're sowing them directly, I would be waiting. I would base it on your frost date, your last frost date, look at that, and then I'd be planting really reliable things, peas, beans, lettuces, all of those kind of really simple things always work well for me when I sow them outside. No problem, Danny. Thank you for being on. This is really nice. Thanks for coming on. Sheila, hi Niall. I have a fiddle leaf fig plant indoors and I can see some bugs in the soil about 1 centimeter long. The potting mix has wood chips. I can see the bugs only early in the morning. Wow. Okay. I am not good with pests and diseases. Hands up. I am not good with pests and diseases. What I would do is I would actually Google that. But immediately, the one thing I would say is if you've noticed you've got a problem like that, isolate that plant away from any of your other plants, get it quarantined, because the last thing you want is it spreading. And we have had exactly that with things like mealybugs and fungus gnats that they have spread. So make sure to keep it separate. Peggy. Hey, Peggy. Sorry, I've realized I haven't said hello to you yet. Hi, Peggy. Just wondering, do you fly internationally anytime near Florida? I do fly internationally, but I'm afraid I don't go as far as Florida. So I won't be able to fly myself over. Thanks, Sean. That's really nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to give you guys a little break, or at least you can write some questions, and I'm going to, I suppose, tell you another little bit. I'm going to talk at you instead while you put up a few more questions. So the first time I did a live video was with Liz on her channel when I went and visited her place a couple of months ago. And I realized that it's definitely easier doing a live video with more than one person because I am talking nonstop. And it's actually quite tiring. So I suppose some of the things that I'm planning for the garden this year, and then that means things that you're going to get to see on the channel this year. The veg garden. The veg garden has just been incredible. Wanted one for ages. Really glad that I created it, but because of how long it took to build, I only got things started in May and June, so I was really playing catch up. But now all I need to do is enjoy it as opposed to having to construct it. So this year is going to all be about growing stuff in it, which is lovely. But there are a couple of changes I'm going to make. Grass paths versus wood chip paths. If you've watched any of my videos about the veg garden, you'll see that it's got grass paths. But actually, I've realized it takes a lot of time to mow the grass paths and to also edge them. So they are going wood chip. And I've started that. I haven't showed it on the videos yet because it looks awful because I'm working on it, but I will. Ultimately, it's going to wood chip. I think it's going to be a lot more practical. The other thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting arches into the veg garden in between the beds so I can grow my climbing beans and things up them to make better use of the space. And it's going to add a bit of structure because I have an idea that in the very center of it, I'm going to have arches on 4 corners, and then I'm going to be able to string lights, and I'm going to make it something really beautiful because I want to make the whole place somewhere where I would happily sit either during the day or during the evening. So that is coming. I need to work on the hedge at the very back of the garden because I chopped down big, tall, 30-foot Leyland cypress trees, chopped them down. But now what we're left with is a very weedy, empty place. So that's all going to need to get worked on as well. I've created a compost area. You guys haven't seen it yet because it's not finished because I've got my hot composters, but also what I need are just some compost bays for everything else and for leaf mold as well, because I prefer making leaf mold in a structure. So that is about half finished. So you'll be seeing that soon as well. And I'm just having a quick look down. Okay, so a couple of quick questions. What is your favorite house plant? Oh, okay. Let me have. Oh, I know what my favorite house plant is because I've got one here. This. It's a ZZ plant. I absolutely love these. I think they look brilliant. I know they're very trendy at the minute, but I do think they look brilliant. And these are absolutely unstoppable. You don't need to worry about how often to water them. You don't need to worry about feeding them. You don't need to worry about the light levels, and they're going to thrive, and they're absolutely brilliant. Amanda's asking, have I ever used biochar? I actually haven't used biochar. I know what it is, and I have used it in different settings, but I've never used it in the garden here yet. Jed's saying, I want houseplants, but your house is dark. I notice you have nice houseplants. Do you use artificial lights? Okay, so what you can't see here, so this is my office, and although these two walls are black, the other two are white, and right just on the other side of the camera is a really big window, and our house is actually very light. Most of these plants don't stay in here. I have done it to dress up the room, and they're generally either in our conservatory or in other rooms that are really bright. Niall from Buses Seat, thanks for coming on, Niall. Take care. Thanks, Lorraine, about putting in the groundwork. Yeah, and I'm glad you think it's a good idea about the wood chip. I think it is. Liz would be a big fan and a big proponent of using wood chip, Hugh as well, and I have found it very useful. I'm glad I did it. Ruth asks, will you be doing some grow along with stuff this year? Would love that. Yeah, I actually am, because I was really pleased with what response I got when I made the bulb lasagna. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do is a little bit of a twist on a grow along, where it won't necessarily be just a grow along. It'll be a little bit more inspirational in the sense of giving you good ideas that even you don't have to grow the same as me, but you can grow something similar and it'll give you a similar effect. I don't want to give it away because I've got a couple of good ideas that I think you're gonna enjoy. Hi, Marion. Oh, that's really good. I'm really happy that you're enjoying the videos. Yeah, Tara, I think arches for sweet pea are going to be great. Anya has very kindly offered a helping hand. You will regret that offer, Anya. Anya lives in Ireland as well, and she's not close to me, but she's close enough that I can call on her if I need a favor. So that's going to be kind of handy. Julia asks, have you ever tried placing a wigwam in a ring of cardboard? Wigwam in a ring of cardboard filled with compost. No, I haven't, but I have started beds in the same way, with cardboard and then compost on top, and they work very well. So I could well imagine that's going to work beautifully. Someone else asked also very quickly about, how do I know Liz? Well, actually, I have Liz to thank for getting to know Liz, because I had started out in April 2020, and I wasn't a very big YouTuber, and I had posted something in the homesteading YouTube group on Facebook, and she sent me this lovely message, and we've been in touch since. And actually, our friendship has kind of just grown and grown. We're both crazy. And yeah, then I went to go and visit her in November, which was amazing to see her place and the work that she's doing. It's just incredible. And yeah, now we're firm friends. Lorraine, that's great that your bulb lasagna is working. Mine is too. I'm going to get photos and I'm going to get it up on Instagram. And actually, that reminds me. So this seems really odd because I don't normally do this kind of thing, and it feels a little bit like an advert, and it's not. But what I have done is I've created a Patreon page, but I haven't really announced it yet. So this is probably a good time to announce it. I've hit 10,000 subscribers, and I'm wanting to build the community. So if you look in the link, there's a link in the description down below for two different things. One is my Patreon page. So I've got an idea that I'm going to create a really nice Patreon community, but rather than it being like an expensive monthly payment, the payment is really, really small per month. Now, it's going to obviously help me make the videos because, as you can imagine, doing all of this takes a lot of equipment and a lot of time, and I do love doing it, but it'll help support the channel. But the whole thing is I want to give you really good content as well. So there's going to be things like I'm going to be doing Patreon only videos, which are going to be a little bit more raw. Like realistically, they'll just be me and my phone, and I'm going to show you little things that's happening, and not necessarily just gardening, like life stuff as well. There's going to be like dedicated like chats, like discussion things. I'm also going to make it that if you're a Patreon member and you follow me on Instagram, I'm going to add you into my Instagram close friends group, which means that when I put out a story, if I select it to close friends only, you'll be the first to see it. And actually, I see that Liz has very kindly posted the link. Go and check it out because I have a whole list of things. But basically, I have an idea that it's going to be like a close group of you guys, all of us together, and that you're going to be able to interact with me even closer than I'm able to do on this live video or in a video that gets published. And also, it's going to give you the opportunity to shape what Niall Gardens is going to be in the future. Right. All done. I'm not going to go on about it anymore because it feels too much like an advert, but go and check it out. It would be amazing if you would give me the support, and I think I can make you really nice content that I think you're going to enjoy. So I'm going to have another look at the questions and see if anybody has a question. Actually, it's not a question, but Jane Kelly says, congratulations on the 10,000. Thank you. I am absolutely blown away. I didn't think 1,000 was going to be popular or popular. I didn't think 10,000 was going to be possible, let alone 10,000. So that is, yeah, it's really something. I'm delighted. Okay, Oleg is asking, do you ever bleach fruit trees in your orchard with lime and clay solution when spring comes? Okay, no, I never have because our trees are huge. However, I watched Gardener's World a couple of years ago, and they went to a garden designer's own personal garden, and she bleaches the trees, but she takes them up to a level and cuts it off so that there's just white, and it looked incredible. I'm really tempted to do it for the look of it. The difficulty is our trees have a lot of moss and things on them and a lot of ivy, and I'm not sure I could do a neat job of it, but I'm gonna give it a try. Oh, StewTube is saying they plan on making a small box bed with a wigwam with wheels on it so they can move it around because the plot is in shade, so it'll be good to move it into the sun. Absolutely. What an epic idea. I absolutely love that. Anya, thank you for signing up to Patreon. That is incredible. When you go onto Patreon, you're going to see there's not an awful lot of content there yet. But now that people are signing up, I will get making content for you. Mark Petrie, have you added any soft fruits or perennials to the veg garden or any plans to? Yes, so there are blackberries and autumn fruiting raspberries at the minute. Then in terms of soft fruit in the polytunnel, we have strawberries. We've got two different varieties of strawberries. My grandma, for my birthday, bless her, my grandma bought me two blueberry bushes, which I'm just delighted about. So I've got blueberries coming on. And then the next thing that I want to get in is I want to get in some more apples and pears and plums, things like that. But I haven't decided where in the garden they're going. I don't think they're going to be in the veg garden. I think they're going to be somewhere else. And I want cherries. Quite a list. Joanna asks, can you do a video on how to organize your gardening tools, seeds, etc.? I'm struggling to organize my shed. 100% yes. I have the video organized. I just haven't filmed it yet. It's a twist on that. I think you're going to love it. But if Liz would very kindly look up a video for me, she can link it. I do have a video all about how I store and organize my seeds. I know it sounds really dull, but actually, oh, hang on, I have it here. Ugh. This is how I store my seeds, because I'm not a big fan of plastic boxes. I store it in a wooden wine crate in metal tins. This is how I store all of my seeds. And it also means that I can keep my seed guides. I can keep a little stick with string. There's a whole video on how to set this up yourself and all of the things I use. Okay, so what else is there? Wow, thank you to everybody that's signing up to Patreon. This is incredible. Carl Smith asks, is it too early to sow cucumbers, even if I have a polytunnel? Yeah, absolutely. If your climate is anything like mine, so think cool, temperate, maritime climate like Ireland, the UK, or Northern Europe, I would not be sowing my cucumbers until April or even May. Don't worry, they're going to romp away really quickly. Jane Kelly, what soil have you put your blueberries in? Are they in pots? Yeah, they are in pots because I want to keep them ericaceous. Yeah, at the moment they're in ericaceous compost, but I'm going to have to think about something for a long-term solution. Bernadette, thank you. She's saying I'm doing a good job. Thank you. I am terrified. This is all fake. This is a little bit like when I'm on the television. Oh, actually, some of you may or may not know that I'm also on the TV now. In Ireland, we have a national breakfast TV show called Ireland AM, and I'm now the regular gardening person contributor that goes on. So now every 3 weeks I do a little gardening segment, and I was on last week and I did a segment all about great winter color and scent and things like that. And the good news is they've said to me that we're going to keep that going. So you're going to see me every 3 weeks. If you're not in this country to be able to watch it, I always link it in my YouTube community page and on Instagram and Facebook and things like that. So you can go and have a look if you want. Yeah, Rebecca, good point about the coffee grounds. Absolutely. Lisa's asking, how do you keep any veg being dug up by rabbits or squirrels? So we are really fortunate. You're not going to believe me here, but we don't have rabbits. If I go and look across the fields some evenings or mornings, I see the rabbits. We never have them in the garden at all. They just never seem to come into the garden. And that's because we've got 2 little dogs. And they do a good job of keeping the rabbits at bay. I know that Liz uses, she has fencing with chicken wire, but she has it very deliberately folded down onto the ground. You don't want any opportunity for things to get under. I'm sure she can advise you on that. Yeah, thank you for everybody saying about the TV gig. It's very, yeah, it's very strange doing it, but it is insane fun. Basically, they just asked me. One of the production team got in touch and asked, would I be willing to give it a go? So I went on and did one, and then they called me the next day and said, "Yeah, we're happy. Would you like to keep doing it?" So that's it. SJ, I have a problem. I've been too busy to plant my bulbs. Is it too late? I'm in the Midlands. No, January, get them in. The main thing I would say is if you have bulbs, right? If you haven't gone out and bought them, if you like, that's one thing. But if you have them in your house, they're not going to turn into anything if you don't plant them. And actually, you're still fine. They may flower a little bit later, but they will flower. I have I've planted bulbs this late in the year, and they have worked perfectly for spring. So I'm going to make sure that I keep an eye on my time because there's 10 minutes to go. And then I'm going to let you all go at 8 o'clock because, like I said, I am not willing to compete with Monty Don because I'm only going to lose. And hopefully this gets you fired up for another hour of gardening TV on the BBC. Right. This is great. Am I still flying? And if so, have I landed in Glasgow? Yes, I have landed in Glasgow. And funny enough, Glasgow is one of my favorite airports. Um, right. Okay. So I've been a bit cheeky. I've asked you to give me a like, and I've told you about my Patreon page. Also, I have a email newsletter, and if you look in the description down below, there's a link that you can sign up, and that's another really good way to get like a bulletin on everything that I'm doing outside of just YouTube, because there's lots of things that I'm doing that don't necessarily mean that I would make a video about it. So I now do a little monthly email bulletin that tells you a few things that are happening in the garden, things that are happening with me, and things like that. So if you haven't signed up yet, go down, sign up, because I'm due to put out my January newsletter in the next few days. Richard and Paul, thank you so much for dialing in. That's amazing. I'm really, really sorry if there are people that have come on and I haven't said hello to, or people that have said goodbye and I haven't said goodbye to. Thank you. So what I'm going to suggest, oh, JB is on. Hey, JB, how's it going? So I'm going to really quickly suggest, why don't some of you write maybe some of the things that you're planning for your gardens in 2022? Because I've told you the things that I'm planning on doing, and you can write them in and let me know. Hey, Carmel, thank you. That's really kind of you to join me. Thank you. I'm going to be really interested to see the things that you're planning on doing in your gardens. And you never know, you might give me some ideas, or you may guilt trip me into things that I need to do. And while you're doing that, I'll also tell you one of the other things that I'm going to be doing throughout 2022 is I'm going to be presenting another YouTube channel. I've already done it. I'm already doing it actually for a houseplant company. It's a houseplant company in Dublin called Clay. And they're called Clay Contemporary Botanical, and they have got me presenting their houseplant information, because obviously Niall Gardens is really all about outdoors and it's about indoors, so that will give you something else interesting to watch if you're ever bored and you want a bit of a hit of gardening, but indoor gardening. Go and check them out. You can find them on YouTube. If you Google or Instagram, go to @clayplants. Clay as in CLAY. Jackie, not at all. Go and get that cake out before it burns, for sure. Lorraine thinks she's seen me in my uniform. Do you know what? You probably have, because Ireland is a very small country. You probably have. Liz is saying one of her intentions for 2022 is that she is going to have me over again to plant a lot of hedging. Yes, so I'm planning on going and visiting Liz again in the spring, and as ever, she has lots of good work for me to do. So I'm going to go over and we're going to plant some bare root hedging, which is going to be really nice. Julia's got an allotment. Very good. Yeah. Nicola, 5 massive sycamores you've taken down, and having a back meadow terraced. Wow. Okay. That's amazing. Yeah. Lorraine, yeah, lots of hard work. Last year I distracted. No, the last couple of years have been really difficult. You either have lots of time or you have very little. And really all you can do is what you can do. Kathy says putting in raised beds and wood chip paths this year. Brilliant. I love it. That sounds great. A Garden Revived. I'm planning on starting many flowers from seed and documenting my process on my YouTube channel. Brilliant. Sounds good. Ruth Walker, growing tomatoes and peppers for the first time. Lovely. Peppers, right, very quickly. What is it? 5 minutes to go. Okay, peppers, I thought were going to be really, really difficult to grow. They're not. Chilies are so easy to grow. So I grew Serrano chilies, cayenne chilies, and I also grew red bell peppers, like sweet peppers or capsicum, but I like the really long thin ones. So I grew one called Coro di Toro Rosso. They all worked really well. Get them sown now. You will need heat and you'll need a little bit of light to keep the seedlings going until the season improves, but then get them in, and I can guarantee you will have way more chilies than you can ever use. We have them dried. I've turned them into sriracha hot sauce. It's amazing. Blue Pixie, planning more nut trees. You've got chestnuts and cob nuts, brilliant, and walnuts. That's really cool. Uh, Tara, I'm planning on buying more seeds than I'm ever physically capable of planting. That is probably one of the best things to do. I love that. Oh, wow. Eilish is going to try growing pumpkins from seeds she's harvested from her own fruits herself. That's really good. Heavily into flowers, consider going for a couple of vegetables. Yeah, good, very good. Wow, this is really good. And actually, Francis has just written, ask JB about peppers. Definitely do. So he's my mate. He's got a YouTube channel called Naturally JB. Head across to his channel if you fancy it. He grows a lot of chilies and he's got quite a lot of in-depth information. So go and have a look. So with 5 minutes to go, um, I'm going to do something, and I hope Liz doesn't mind me doing the same thing that she does, but I think it's just a really sweet idea, which is if you've got a YouTube channel yourself and you're live on at the minute, feel free to write the name of your channel into the comments so that other people can see it. I think it's really nice because when I've been on Liz's live chats, I've taken that opportunity, and it's really lovely to basically be able to show it off. So either copy and paste the link to your channel if you would like to into it, or otherwise just write the name of your channel. And I'm going to sit back and I'm going to have another sip of my now cold tea while you do that. I am on my phone because I'm looking up something to help somebody out. Oh yeah, Jane. Let's see. I think Jane. So you'll all see everybody that Jane Kelly has commented. She has a great channel. Go and look it up. It's really easy. You don't need to worry about a link. Just go into YouTube and type in Jane Kelly, and you will get her channel. I have just checked it, so you will get that. Yes, and Liz has exactly the right idea. Click on the three little dots, and it'll take you through. So we are coming up on the hour, and I have pretty much covered everything. I am very grateful for all of you that have stuck with me for an entire hour of me talking nonstop. I was really worried that it was going to feel like just talking to nobody, but actually it's amazing. Although I'm talking at a camera, I feel like I'm talking to all of you, which is really lovely. It's so nice. So I am finishing editing Sunday's video. So make sure 9 a.m. GMT, the next video is going out. It's everything that I think you need to know about seed sowing in January, because although I make seed sowing videos in January, I think a lot of people can fall down in it if they think that this is what they have to do. You do not have to. So go and check that video out. And this is really lovely. So loads of people in the comments are saying thank you. And actually, no, don't thank me. Thank you to you, because I was kind of worried doing this as my first live chat that there wouldn't be anybody, and I would be sitting here really with myself and Liz as a moderator and nobody else. So this is really nice. Thank you so much to everybody for coming on. It's been amazing talking to you. If you would like me to, I will do another live chat soon. It's certainly something that I can do now, which is quite nice. And also, can everybody give a big thank you to Liz for being a brilliant moderator, because she's moderated the whole thing by herself, and it's been a really big help to me. Right, everybody, this is really lovely. Thank you. Thank you for joining me, for chatting, for all your lovely messages, for all of your questions. And it is now 8 p.m. here in Ireland. So go forth, make yourself a cup of tea, watch some more gardening stuff, and have a brilliant evening. And I suppose, I feel like I don't know how to say goodbye. Okay, I'm going to say what I say in the end of every video. So until next time, see you later. Bye, everybody.